All right, welcome back. This should be part 9 of our series here. Just a few quick fixes to add on to last video. I've kind of edited a few things. So one thing I'm doing is I've added a new variable called time into our corn. So this is called time. And what this is going to do essentially is it's going to take the timer and get the wait time and subtract 10 minus the time. So generally, it would be 0. If you make a new one, it would still be 0. So then the wait time would be 10. But if, let's say, we load something, we have a time, there's time left. We want to subtract that time left from the original amount of time that we have. Okay, so we're taking the time and making it equal to time left. I actually think it's just time, sorry. What we'll do though is check if time. No, actually, that's it. No. If time equals 0, then we'll not equal 0, then we'll do that. So now if I run it, am I missing anything else actually? I think there was one more line of code. Yeah, okay, sorry. So, we'll add that. Yeah. So another thing is we want to make sure that we get the child, the dirt, and make sure that we set the has seed equals to true. This was a little bug that existed in the last video. I didn't fix it because why not? But now the game is broken and I have no idea what's happening. Let's see. Oh, I see what's happening. Another thing I added is in our stage, if it's equal to stage 6, we'll queue free. Another thing I'm going to add, I'm going to do this right now, in our dirt container for our world, what we want to do is before we add it, we'll actually add that right here. Before we instance it, we're going to check if this plant has, if it's equal to stage 3. So we'll do current plot I minus 1 stage if the int of our stage, we have to convert it to an integer, is smaller than 5, no, smaller than 6, then we will add it. Yeah. If it's not, we'll pass for now. Yeah, so if it's not, we'll pass. Okay, let's see what's going on here. Let's do just I. Oh, valid base. What is happening? Okay, we should have 0, 1, 2 in our debugger saying invalid get index 1. Why is that? It's minus smaller than 5. What is happening here actually? Let's do minus 1 again. Okay, let's debug this together. What I like to do, this is actually a good debugging lesson. Generally, when I debug things, I like to print it to see what is happening. 606. Okay, so it should be working. That's strange. However, it is strange that it has printed it that many times. It has printed it 6 times when we only have 3 seeds, right? Open. Let's rent the current plot dot size. See how big it is. It is 3. So that's very strange that it is doing that 3 times. Okay, let's see. It should only have printed it 3 times. So there's 606 and then 162. I'm not sure why. We have 6, 6, 6 for stage. 6, 6, 6. Ah, I see. I remember now. It is because in our seed, we are printing something. Here we go. That number. We'll delete that. We'll go back to world. Play. Okay, we have size 3, and then should be doing 6, 6, 6. Okay. I'm not sure why it was erroring there. That's strange. Let's try one more time. If the integer of the current stage is, let's do not equal to 6, then we'll do this. We'll do that. Let's try that. Okay, that's very strange. Invalid get index 1. That is very strange. Am I ever? Okay, I'll figure this out later. For now, we'll delete this. However, this should work. So if we have our plants, it shouldn't plant anything. And what we'll do is we'll do this. We'll get parent dot has seed equals false. Actually, we'll do that before we queue free, and then play. All right, and now I should be able to add into it again. And if I close and play, it kind of works. It's a little buggy, but it still adds our seeds. All right, the seed adding, saving, and loading is a little buggy, but it still works. For now, what we'll do is we'll clear it. So save and load. We'll clear our entire thing. And now what we're going to want to do is we're going to go into our UI, and we're going to add our. We're going to create a new node actually, and it's going to be called. We're going to make let's make a 2D scene, and it'll be, no, actually, let's close that. And we'll make a panel first. And in our panel, what we'll have is a picture. And if you have the UI free inventory, you'll be able to drag and not that. I think this one, yeah. The bar, and then what we can do is transform it. Be 2 and 2. I want it a little bit bigger. And I'm actually going to change it back to node, a 2D node. Can I not do that? Should be able to. There we go. All right, there we go. So now we have a node. We'll name this to select seed. We'll save it, and we'll save it in here. That's fine. And now, if I go into my UI, I can drag this in, and I will drag it right there. That's fine. All right, next thing we're going to do is we're going to essentially have a select seeds that we're going to be able to select. So in our inventory, what we can do is go to our select, inventory select. We're going to want to double that size. And now, as we can see, it kind of looks like we can select it. So let's lock that background and drag this up and move this so it kind of looks, never mind, we'll have to make sure the bar is in the back. And we'll actually turn off snap, and we'll move it slightly in the middle. All right, and then if we duplicate this, we'll actually name this number 1. We'll duplicate it, that will be number 2. We can move this to the side, and that's kind of what it should look like. We'll have it, yeah, we'll have it like that. Let's see, actually. No, we'll move it a little to the left. Yeah, there we go. And then this one, we'll also move it to the left. Okay, so my goal is basically to not cover all of it. Yeah, so we'll move this one a bit to the left as well. One more pixel to the left, right? All right, we'll leave it there. Okay, so what we're going to be doing here in each of these sprites is we're going to add a seed. So let's go to our objects. We'll go to the seed. We'll add that in. And what we'll do is we'll go to animation. We'll VFrame is 2. H frame is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then frame is 0. And then we're going to duplicate this, put it in number 2. We're going to move it. And this one is going to be equal to 7, I believe. Nope, 6. Yeah, there we go. So now we have 2 different plants. We have the corn and, I don't know, apple, I guess. Is that apple? I don't know. Maybe it's a tomato. Let me know in the comments what you think it is. Tomato or apple. I don't know. One of the two. But yeah, now we can select one of these 2 seeds to plant. What we're going to do is we're actually going to drag this out. And we're going to have the select be inside the basic plant. So this will be seed 1, and this will be seed 2. I'm going to put that to the bottom. And then I'm going to rename this to select, and we're going to make that invisible. And now we're also going to add, no, that is it. Yeah, that's it. We're going to add panel, and we're going to drag that in. No, actually, we're not going to add a panel. Ignore that. We'll work with this. So we're going to go into our select seed. We're going to add a script. And in our script, there's a few things we're going to add. First, we're going to have the variable selected equals 0. And then we're going to have a input function. So input event, and if event dot is action scroll, which doesn't exist, so we're going to have to add that. We're going to go to input map, and we're going to do action select shift up. So it should select up and then select down. We're going to add the action mouse button. It'll be wheel up and then wheel down for this one. Wheel down. So every time we select up, we're going to wheel up, and select down is wheel down, right? So if event action is pressed, what am I doing? Select up, should be uppercase like that. There we go. Just make sure it's spelled right. We're going to do selected plus equals 1. And then we'll duplicate this. And then we're going to check if we're going down. However, we're going to subtract, obviously. All right, next thing we're going to do is we're going to do a new function called hide all. And in this function, what it's going to do is get child selected dot get child dot hide get child 0 dot hide. However, this is only going to get the first one, so we're going to actually for loop through this. So we're going to do get for loop get child count. Oh, and yeah, sorry. For loop I and get child count. So it's going to get the child count that we have here, and it's going to go through each one. We're going to actually do, here's the problem. Yeah, okay. What we'll do is we'll actually find parent and then, yeah, okay, that should work. What we can do is go to visibility, go to show behind parent, and make sure this is checked up. Otherwise, it'll show in front of everything, and we don't want that. I'm going to go back to select seed. It's going to get child count, subtract 1, which is the background, so we don't want to select that. We're going to get the child, the first child, I, which is go down to this one. Then we're going to get child 0, just the select. Then we're going to hide that. Then we're going to also have a function called show all. And then in here, it's going to do the same thing, except we're not going to for loop. We're just going to get the selected. It's actually not showing all, it's just show. Show select. We'll do that. Show select, and then it'll do the same thing, except only get the one selected. Right? So it'll get the child that we have selected and show this one. So if we have selected 0, it'll go down to this one, it'll go down to this one and show it. Right? And it'll make sure we hide this one. So let's go back here, and what we'll do is we'll go to function, process, and we're actually going to show the select every time, every second. And every time I input, I'm going to hide all. All right, so now if I load this scene, whoop, I can't go down. I should be able to go up or not. Okay, so I wanted to try to test it without it to see if I could do that bug. But what's happening here is our select count is going too low or too high. So we need to make sure we limit that between 0 and 1, right? So we're going to do if selected is small than get child count minus 2. Then we'll add 1. And then what we'll do here is if selected is bigger than or equal to 1, then we'll subtract. All right. Let me just double check with my code. This should work. We'll also do function ready dot hide all. There we go. And then we'll play it. Okay, very strange. That's actually not, but it's not working. Select up. Okay, let me double check. We'll debug it. We'll make sure we print something to see if it even works. Okay, so it does work. The only issue is showing, I believe. Okay, what we'll do is we'll actually just take this and put it into the process. We're not gonna bother. Okay, so selected should never become over. Okay, let's print the selected number. Let's see what number we're at. 1, so it should be at 1. If we're showing, it should be, here we go. We're hiding it always, not showing it, that's why. Silly me. There we go. Now we can select one of the 2 seeds. And what we'll do is we're also going to go to our game, and we're going to make a variable in here that is selected. And this will be 0. And now what we'll do is go back into our select, and we'll replace selected with game.selected. Replace all. And now it should work the exact same. Oh, we're going to delete that. It should work the exact same. However, the selected variable that we have is now global. So now what we can do, very simple, is go into our dirt, and we have to actually make a new corn or a new seed. So what we'll do is duplicate the corn, and we'll do tomato. I'm going to say it's a tomato. If you think otherwise, you can let me know in the comments, and maybe I'll change it. In here, we're going to do tomato, and then we're going to duplicate the script to tomato. We're going to take that script, put it in here, go into the script, and for the frame, for the stage and frame, it's going to be different. It's going to be, okay, if we start at stage 1, we're going to be instead at stage 7. So we want to add 6. So we can do this. Fortunately, we're going to have to copy that for each one. And then for the seed, we'll do tomato. All right, now let's try, oh no, we didn't do anything yet. So in our plot of dirt, we'll copy paste this. Except for corn, we'll do tomato. And then in here, we're going to just tomato. Make sure you spell it right, otherwise it'll error. And now what we'll do is, if not has seed and is action spawn, if game, or no, what we can do actually is match game dot selected with 0 is going to be the plant, and then 1, or sorry, it's going to be the corn, and then 1 would be the tomato. So we can change it like that. And now it'll error because I don't have tomato without an O. So now that should work. So now I should be able to plant regularly. However, if I select the second one, it should plant the tomato instead. Awesome. Hopefully it grows. We'll wait until it grows and then we'll end the video. Awesome, there it is. It's growing. There's our tomato. So now we can select 2 different plants and plant them. So this is pretty cool. Unfortunately, this asset only has 2 plants, so I will only go and show you guys how to do 2 plants. But if you buy the advanced version of this, or if you have your own plants you want to draw or whatever, you can, code that yourself and add them. But I've shown you how. We've added the UI for it. It looks wonky, but this is how it looks. So if we launch, we have our UI on the bottom, and you can kind of size it to however you want. And so that's our select, which is pretty neat. So we can select only up to 2 because there's nothing else. And yeah, that's about it. I will think about what to do for next video. I'm thinking we do an inventory. I'm not 100% sure I want to do that just yet. But for now, this is pretty good. We have a pretty awesome working game where we can move around and we can plant things. And we can select different things to plant, and we can only plant whenever we plant it out. What I would like you to do, I'm going to give you homework, is I want you to now change the loading. So whenever we load our seeds, right, it's always, because we save a tomato, it's still going to load a corn, right? So for your homework, I want you to figure that out and load a tomato instead of corn. So I will do that next video, but I want you guys to try to figure that out in here. So it's in the dirt container. And I'll see you guys next time.